Okay, well, it's about 10 after, and we had some technical issues. There's always technical issues, so that's fun. If you can't hear me, let me know, because I got something wrong with my voice. So I do jiu-jitsu, so I got choked out a bunch of times a couple weeks ago, and my neck's a little sore, but it was an awesome class. I learned a lot. So if you want to know how to choke somebody out, come and talk to me. Put them to sleep or whatever, yeah. So this is about building a wiki. First of all, who would consider themselves a beginner in here? Have you ever built a site in Drupal? No. Have you ever gone through the install process or anything like that? Okay. Just the install. Okay. At the workshop. Okay, good. So I'm the co-maintainer for the Drupal wiki, the talk module, there's an edit section module, and FlexiFilter. I've done like one patch for that, so trying to get more involved with that. I started out with wikis like, maybe 10 years ago when they, with a Java wiki. I've done lots of other PHP wikis, and then once I got into Drupal, I finally realized, why am I using these other PHP wikis? Why don't I try to help out with the Drupal wiki that's out there already? So I could learn more about Drupal, I could start contributing to the community. And that's the main reason I started getting involved with wikis. I kind of just have it's just kind of a fun thing to do. It seems like you go into an organization and somebody needs to document what they did or, how they got something working. And a wiki has always been a really good tool for that. If you haven't heard the term before, wiki is a Hawaiian word meaning fast or quick, and it's much easier, much quicker than typing out the HTML for users. Why a Drupal wiki? And I say, why not? Feedback helps grow the contributed modules, making Drupal better. If we work in Drupal, let's use Drupal to do our work. Okay, so to get started with the Drupal wiki, you just download the latest package, create your database and user, which you probably did in the workshop, and then go to your site to start through the installation process. And if you're familiar with Drupal, just going through the standard installation process, it's called an install profile. It's got different steps along the way, different features. It adds a couple content types. The Drupal wiki, and there's lots of other install profiles out there. It's kind of the same thing. It just adds a content type, turned on a few features, makes it more like a wiki so that you don't have to go through and configure it after you've installed it.
Would this be considered a separate distro?
Yes, it's a separate distro. Mm-hmm. And this right here, this is the only difference between a standard Drupal install and the Drupal wiki install, is that you just select the Drupal wiki. And then you just go through the standard process, and then when you're all done, you have your Drupal wiki all built. The only difference is between the package that you download and what I've got running is I've already downloaded a Wysiwyg editor library. Like you can use either CK Editor, TinyMCE, or there's a few other ones that'll work. So I've already downloaded and I've put the library, the CK Editor library, into my Drupal install. And the footnotes module is a development version from March that I have not put into the wiki install profile yet. Once I do that, then you can download it and it all will be there already. Okay, some of the things the install profile does is it creates the wiki content type. Comments are turned on for that content type. Every time you edit and save, it's going to create a new revision. The diff module is also included, so you can actually go and look at nice color coded diff of the different versions. There's a free linking module. The standard format for this wiki is the target page with the pipe and then the display title. There's other plugins that you can use. There's actually a Drupal project plugin that you can use that will, all you have to do is say Drupal project : and then the name of the project, and it will create a link for you within that free link. There's one for Google, so you can create a search link. Wikipedia. There's various other free links that are part of this package. But for now, we're just going to work on, or just look at the standard like Wiki page. And what that does is, if that target page is not available to the system, it's going to create a link that will allow the user to create a page. There's an external links module that basically shows if this link goes off-site, then it's going to show a little icon. And then there's a talk page, which is sometimes referred to as a discussion page. So you can actually talk about that wiki page without actually editing the content. And that's enabled for the wiki content. Things and decisions that an installer might do, decision an installer might make are what kind of admin module you want to use. There's the admin menu module. I prefer the admin menu. It's just a preference. Then there's the wiki text format, the input filter, and I'll go over these in just a minute. And then also the free linking is just a minor configuration for that. You basically decide, do you want all your free links to create a wiki page, or do you want them to create a book page or an article? Okay. So microphone's over there, so let me know if you can't hear very well. Can't hear me. So this is after the installation, and what I've done is I've already created a page. And here's my page here. So here's the talk tab that I talked about. And this is configurable if you want to change this to discussion or talk about it, whatever. There's a revisions tab. Since there's the diff modules installed, I can show a diff of any different revision. Kind of nice. It's pretty cool. Okay, so now you're also going to see some different things in here. There's a footnote, different sections, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit this page and kind of show you a little bit about that. So for me, wiki, when some of the older wikis, it's you use 2 asterisks for bold or italics. I don't remember. Maybe 2 underscores for bold or italics. And that's a new syntax that users have to learn. So I really like the fact that you can put a Wysiwyg inside of Drupal. All they have to do is basically use the bold italics. It gives them that nice editor. And really the only big thing here for me is creating a new page. And that's what a wiki is really good for. I can create a new page right within the page that I'm editing, change the name of it, and all I have to do is type a new page. So this is the name of my page, and now I'm going to put the title in. And that's all there is for links. So that's really the only odd syntax that a user would have to learn, is how to create a new page. And if this page actually exists, if it already is in the system, it'll just create that link to the page. I had a bug last night, so I'm hoping I got that fixed. Also creates a new revision here. You can put a log message in there if you want it. Yep, so there's my new page link. Okay. Also, because I have sections in here, this is like a header 2. This is a header 2. There could be some CSS formatting done on this, but this edit link here applies to this section here. Okay, so we could do some CSS and make that look a little bit better. A lot of times they'll have a, line with the edit over on the side. But if I edit that section, there it is, and I can actually do just this part. Another piece I forgot to talk about is there is a plugin that comes with the footnotes module that works with the Wysiwyg editor, and this is right here just adds a nice little button to the editor. If you notice, there is no section here with all my footnotes. I don't have any section that I had to type out and recreate or copy. All I have to do is push the button, and there it creates my footnote. It automatically numbered them too. I can put my own number if I want to, but it automatically did that. Created the HTML down here for my footnotes. Another common feature of a wiki. Any questions so far? The link, yeah. Just the brackets. I can even use 2 brackets like this. And just like that. So it'll use that for the page name and the title. But yep. It'll make a link regardless of whether it exists or not. In this case, they didn't exist. So if you'll see, it's going to try and edit that page. And part of the free linking module that's included is it goes out and finds, oh, does that page already exist? If it does, then I'm going to go and view it. Otherwise, I'm going to create that page.
It'll create a blank page.
Yes, it will. So if I click on this link, created a blank page, here's my title, and I'm good to go.
Suppose you wanted to link off-site.
Off-site. There's a couple different ways you could do it. You could provide the hyperlink buttons in the Wysiwyg editor. There's another plugin that you can use, just a basic link like this. I'm not sure exactly on the syntax if you have to do it a certain way, but you could also do something like that. The Drupal project looks a little bit like this, and that'll create the link to drupal.org/project/talk. I'd have to look at that for sure because I'm not exactly sure on the syntax with this. What I typically prefer to do is go to the Wysiwyg profile, and here I have CK editor defined for my wiki text. Here's the unlink, and here's the link. Just removes the link from your page. Here, and I'll show you real quick here. Let's go. So there's the link I created. Here's a little icon that shows it's going off-site. If I don't like that, then this unlink would be what I would use.
You just added those things to the name of the
Yep, through that Wysiwyg profile. If you haven't, the Wysiwyg module is pretty cool because I can set different buttons for different users. Like full HTML I'd use for an administrator, so I'd probably just check all the buttons if I wanted. Well, the free linking is another thing to look at. So here's all the different plugins. Actually, for the NoTitle is the name of the plugin, but basically there's Wikipedia, Google, Drupal project, whatever. It'll give me lots of different formats, but NoTitle is like the basic one where it creates a new page from the title. So ignore that. Default type to create. So here's where you say, when I click on a link and there's no page for that, I want to create a wiki page or I want to create an article. The wiki page or the wiki content type is just already configured to have the comments and have the revisions. Some of the other ones, like the basic page, won't have comments turned on. And maybe an administrator created a link to a page that doesn't exist, and an anonymous user comes in and they click on that link, but they don't have permission to create new pages. So this is what this setting does here. Add a link to create new content if they have permission. If they don't have permission to do it, it's access denied. So that's the basics of that. The talk page is just kind of real simple. You can change the name of it. Display the tab even if there are no comments. Maybe you want to hide the tab if nobody's even commented on it. If we go back to, let's see, go back to one of my wiki pages here. You notice there's no comment section on here. You can't add a comment. It's configured to only do it on the talk page. So now I can add a comment. If I want to change that, it's real easy. It's a little checkbox. I can put the form actually on the view page underneath the node. And of course, I can still go over here and create a wiki page. I can do that too. I don't have to create pages from links. Now you want to maybe find a way to show that to the user, otherwise it could just be a dead page out there. If nothing's linking to it, it could be dead. So here's some links to the modules that I've talked about. There's a few more in there. There's the Wysiwyg. You can't use the Wysiwyg by itself. You need to download a library for it. Yes. Yep.
So in the grand scheme of things, you've got your site that you created, your Drupal site, and then all of a sudden you decide you want to have a wiki functionality. Does that mean you have to start 2 instances of Drupal?
No. Mm-mm. No. So you could. There's a couple different ways you could do it. The newer version, Drupal 7 version, uses features. It basically packages up the wiki features, so to speak, into a package. So you could add that to your site. You could, which would probably be the best way to do it, because there's a lot of little configurations in there. And then just install the rest of the modules that's required. The free linking, the footnotes, there's a FlexiFilter one that is optional, but that basically lets you scan for text and replace it with something else.
The way I normally see wikis working in the real world is they have a separate domain address. Is that what would happen if you did it with Drupal 7 and added the modules for wiki? Or is it just becomes part of the page?
You can make it part of the page, actually. You can actually, you can create a new content type called wiki and implement it for that, or you could just have the wiki features that work for the basic page or the article. So if you go to type up a new article and you decide you want the wiki features, you'd install that feature, the related modules, and then the next day you're going to edit that article. You could add a footnote, you could do the links. It's just a bunch of modules that are configured a certain way. So it's not something that you would have to create a new site for. You could add the wiki features to any Drupal site. This just kind of makes it, pre-configured for that.
So the Drupal underscore wiki is not a module.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. It makes it a little confusing when you've got project, but that's the way they started it, and they haven't changed it yet. I don't know if they're planning on changing it or what, but yeah, it's actually an install profile. Yep.
You're saying you can just configure modules to do what you need for it to use as a wiki,
Mm-hmm.
and then you never touch that Drupal wiki project page.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I can actually show you if anybody wants to see code. So you got the standard Drupal profile. Here's my Drupal wiki profile. Here's all the modules that are included. Now the Drupal packaging system actually does all this automatically. So when I create a new make file, this Drupal-org.make, it actually packages it up for me. It basically adds all of these modules together, and the Drupal core puts them all together into that distribution package. Let's see here. I'm missing a module, I think. No, okay, here it is. Wiki Custom. This is basically just a feature. It's just a package of settings. So every time you click on a checkbox, does anybody know what features is? The features module? You'll get to it someday. It's pretty cool, but every time you click on a checkbox or some configuration setting in Drupal, where is it stored at? In the database. So how do you get that out of the database so that you can migrate your changes to another website or another server? Maybe you're developing it and you want to put it onto a live site. You don't want to dump the database and then overwrite the production database. It could, wipe out data. The features module pulls all those settings out and actually places them into code. So really all you'd have to do is if you had all the modules, all of these free linking modules, diff, edit section. If you had all those installed, all you would need is to copy this Wiki Custom module. It's its own module, so all you'd have to do is enable it. You enable that, it's going to create the wiki content type. It's going to configure the free linking. It's going to configure all the other ones that's needed. That's really all you'd have to do. If you have a Drupal site already, you could download this distribution, copy the Wiki Custom module into your Drupal site, and you'd be ready to go. And it would puke. It would tell you if it's missing some modules.
Wait, you can do that even without features?
You still need features installed. Features and C tools are required in order to turn on a feature. Yep. Was there a question in the back?
Can you talk just briefly about the user permissions that you would typically set up with the wiki? Are all the users using the wiki going to have the same set of permissions, I guess?
Yeah, I can talk about that real quick. Don't remember if this has any permissions already set up. Or roles, I mean. You can definitely create a role or add a permission to be part of that distribution. I think, let's see, use the wiki text format, something that had to be set so only authenticated users can actually use that format.
So is that all configured as part of
Yes. Actually, there's not a whole lot right now configured for that. So it would be part of, it's kind of, at that point, it's kind of the decision of the site owner. Do you want to create a new role called editor, and they're the only ones that can edit the page? Maybe authenticated users can create a new wiki page. There's certain things I didn't want to configure too much, because then you're giving too much power to people, and if you install it fresh, you're not going to necessarily know that unless you go in and review every single setting. So here would be, since I'm logged in as administrator, I can do everything, but here's where you'd set that, create that new content. So if somebody clicks on that link for a new page, it would, fail, or depending on that permission. Any other questions?
Yeah, really a great through all of this. What are the advantages of going through, why goes to the effort to say, just advantageous to I'm thinking in an intranet situation. What are you going to gain by going through possible hassle of setting up, adding
Right. Well, I know if somebody, it's kind of cool now that if somebody were to come to me and say, hey, I need a wiki site, how long will it take you to put it up? And I can say, it'll take me 5 minutes. Literally, it'll take me 5 minutes to download, create the database, do all of that stuff, and they're up and running, editing pages and creating pages. Adding those wiki features to an existing Drupal site take just a little bit longer, based on what we talked about. The real advantage, I guess, of the wiki features is the discussion pages, the free linking. There's a couple other features I haven't showed you in here, but basically you can show a list of all of the links that you've created that don't have an associated page. That's part of this system. So it just gives you a little bit more Just a few more bells and whistles. You could definitely do it with articles. You have to make sure you post it, but linking those articles, how do you link those within the site? A wiki makes it very easy to just to bounce around and get to different pages. If you create a really big, huge page, linking that, maybe you want to cut that last third of the content out and put it into a new page. Well, how do you link that from an article to a new article? With a wiki page, you could just create a link, create the new page, and then copy that content over.
So it creates a stream of consciousness in a way, in your ability to add pages to the system.
It makes it a little bit easier for some users who aren't comfortable with creating those links and just joining those pages. Now, if you want to do more of a tutorial or something that has a real flow to it, then I'd probably use something like a book. The book makes it real easy to do that.
Is that a wiki feature, or is that not?
Book is part of the Drupal core, but it's not turned on by default. And it gives you like, next page, previous page, go up a level. I use that a lot for tutorials. How do you create a wiki page? Well, I'd use the book module to do a step-by-step of creating a wiki page. And a lot of the Drupal documentation you'll see is using that book.
Now you were saying that the wiki was easier to set up if it wasn't part of your version of Drupal installation.
Yeah, if I do a fresh install, I can seriously get it done in 5 minutes. Not on this computer because it seems kind of slow sometimes, but seriously going through the install process takes less than 5 minutes.
Then why is it more complicated to add the wiki to the existing Drupal?
Well, you'd have to download the modules, and then also use that wiki feature. You'd have to install that module too and turn them all on, and just double check them, make sure they're okay. They should configure fine with that feature, but it's just a few extra steps you got to do. So it might take me. Yes, it might take me 15 minutes instead of 5 minutes, but that wouldn't take that long to do that. They'd have to be installed separately on your currently existing site, yeah. Which is one of the. What's that? Well, because the Drupal core just by itself doesn't include the talk module. It doesn't include free linking or flexi filter or the Wysiwyg module. So you'd have to add all those on if you wanted those. No, each module is individual. Yeah, yep. So, it's one of the powers of the install profiles is there's a commerce kickstart. It's got all the commerce stuff put together and all the modules you need for that. If you know you're going to do a commerce website, it's really, there's quite a few profiles going around out there. It's picking up a lot of activity in the community because they want to make it a lot easier for anyone to install Drupal, a flavor of Drupal. You can do an educational flavor. You can do, whatever. You can create your own, just like the Drupal wiki. You can create your own. Yeah.
So you have this existing Drupal site, and you want to add a wiki to it. Does that mean you have to start a whole new page, or can you put a wiki at the bottom of the page? And how do you tell it that?
How do you tell it to?
How do you tell it to put a wiki at the bottom of this page?
It would be, you'd have to say, do you want the article to have those wiki features? In that case, when you go to edit that page, it would be able to do the free links and the footnotes. Or do you want to create a whole new wiki content type? Which would means every time you create a new page, it'd be a wiki page. It's not, they wouldn't be separated into different sections. They'd be like, either you turn wiki features on for several content types, or you just create a wiki content type with those features. Does that does that make sense?
Content type.
Content type would be like article. There's article, basic page. Article and basic page are the two default content types. So I want to create content that is of type article. Article and basic page are really similar, except a few different changes, like comments is turned off.
So like on a basic page, I could create a little area that would be a wiki, put a content type of wiki in that little area.
No, you would have to, the basic page, you'd have to decide whether or not you want it to have wiki features. So then every basic page would have wiki features.
How about if I wanted some pages that had wiki features and other pages that didn't have wiki features? Maybe there was just one page that I wanted to have wiki features and all the other pages didn't want it.
We created a content type called page wiki.
Yep.
And that will require
No, this little button right here, this little link. I can add any content type. I can add a car content type that has, color, make, model, whatever.
So the only catch is that if I had an existing page, I wouldn't be able to use that existing page to add a wiki to it. I'd have to create a new content type, copy the stuff from the existing page to the new page with that content type to include.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Let me see if I can show you something a little bit different. So this is just HTML, right? It's in the editor. This right here is actually, kind of determines that it's a wiki page, because I'm using a wiki text format, which means that wiki text format, when I go to save that page, it's going to look for the footnote, it's going to look for these brackets, and it's going to process this content, because I've got this wiki text.
So when you install the wiki distribution, it adds that format.
Yep. And that's the default format for a wiki content type.
So do all pages have a wiki text format added that you can select then, or?
Let me show you. If I go to create an article, if I want, I can just use full HTML, but I don't have that configured yet for this demo. I can set plain text for anonymous users, or for people I don't like, whatever, and they just type in straight text. But as soon as I select this, see how that changed?
Okay.
And now I can add my footnote. So now, here's the source that we have. Behind the scenes, it's this tag right here that the module's looking for. It's looking for that tag, and then it processes that. And then it adds all that, it adds that section at the bottom with all the footnotes. So if I go to, let me
See that source.
disable rich text. Right there. So if I go to, let's say, a plain text format, I can enter that, but it's not going to give me that option. And in fact, this would probably,
Not scanning for that.
right, and it'll probably pull it out and not even save it in this content because that plain text format doesn't allow that FN tag. So really, this is what, that's what makes that.
That wiki text line is called distributing.
Yep.
Then you can select it on your page.
Yep. And you can hide that from everybody except for administrator, or you could only show it to editor role and administrator. Those are some of the options.
So if you did it with roles, you have one site, you've got pages, and then some of the content, you want it usable, and some of it you don't. You control that just by role.
Mm-hmm.
So the average user wouldn't be able to alter the content, but somebody that you designated, gatekeeper could.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's sort of the middle line between having two separate installations, separate domain names like wiki.mysite.com, which is the way we normally see them because it's got a different system running Wiki.
You can actually make it on the same website, but the anonymous users or certain users won't even know that there's a wiki feature. $10.50. Any questions? Any fine? Yep.
Well, that's why, okay, I got this wiki that has all this content that people have been putting in for the years and years and years. They want to print it out in a book. Can you do that?
Cool. Print it out in a book. There's a print module, I think. Yeah, take that in a PDF library. You can actually create PDFs out of all your pages. I think it'll go through like a book content type and create a PDF. I don't remember exactly, but that'd be an interesting challenge. Yeah.
Why is it a challenge?
Well, the way the pages are laid out, it'd be able to push one button and create a book out of it. You might have to save each page individually. If you've got your Drupal site already laid out a certain way, there's a chance that you could create one PDF out of 20 pages. Just kind of depends on how it's laid out. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, is there some place we can go get step-by-step instructions on how to install this thing? This is the hardest thing I find about Drupal, is that you go to the modules, and you download the modules, and sometimes you need additional tools, and, there's no instruction. You have to scan it to install it, and then it comes up with a flag that says you also have to install this. It'd be so simple just to have a step-by-step, do one, download this and install it, download this and install it, Why don't you guys do that on your site?
I've seen those before, and you know what? I went through that process, and I forget how hard it was. It was hard. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're going with these distributions. Because Drupal distribution, that all by itself, it just gives you some really basic features, pages and blog and book, Yeah, really basic stuff, yeah. There's some, I've seen some really good books out there for, some step-by-step, but we'd probably have to look at it. I'm sure there's some documentation out there, but it's not, last time I looked, it's not laid out, so it's really easy to find. And here's what you do next. I just installed Drupal, now what do? I think that's one of the biggest things I've heard before, yeah. Yeah, we should probably look at that. But I know there's documentation out there, it's just where to find it, and I haven't had to touch it forever.
Instructions. Click on that, download the text file. And you got it. It'd be so helpful. At least getting it installed, maybe not to go through all the possibilities of formatting everything, but at least get it up and running. I've been trying to install the wiki on one of my new sites, and I can't get it to install. I can't find it if it is.
the Wiki modules? Huh. Well, maybe we can talk about that later. I'd like to look at your problem.
Because I didn't get everything downloaded. It took me 10 or 15 minutes to download that little file.
Hmm.
This internet.
Oh, from here, yeah. This hasn't been kind of on and off. They're trying to reboot the router and all that stuff. So I know there's documentation out there, but it's kind of, you know, in limbo. It's hard to find. So thank you for your questions.